Welcome to the digital learning platform Sri Guru Sudendra College, Bhatkar. Course BCom 4th Sem. Subject Law and Practice of Banking. Topic Bank Advances. In this part, we will be looking at the modes of creating charges, that is, secured advances. Secured advances are those which are created on the tangible assets of the borrower in favor of the banker. Means these are the advances which are given by the banker by accepting a security of an asset against the loan which is granted. It will be a security to the banker because in case the borrower does not repay the loan, he will have the asset belonging to the borrower which can be used for recovering the loan amount. There are different modes of creating charges. They are lien, pledge, hypothecation and mortgage. We have already covered the topic of lien under the chapter banker and customer relationship. I'll just go through it again briefly. Lien is the right of the creditor to retain the goods and securities in his possession belonging to the debtor until his debt is cleared or repaid. So here the creditor who has lended the money has the right to retain the asset in his possession. The asset which belongs to the debtor, he can retain it with himself, retain the possession of the goods until the debtor makes the payment of the loan. So here he has the right to keep the goods with himself until the debtor makes the payment of the loan. Banker's lien is an implied pledge. Implied pledge means in case of default by the customer, that is, the customer fails to make the payment of the loan. In that case, the banker can sell the goods and securities which he had retained by giving a reasonable notice to the customer. So, lien only gives the right for retaining the possession of the goods. But in case of banker, his right of lien is an implied pledge. Means in case the customer does not repay the loan, in that case the banker can sell the retained assets and recover his money. Next, the circumstances under which banker can exercise his right of lien. Firstly, to exercise the right of lien, banker should have the possession of the goods with himself. Until he has the goods with himself, he will not be able to exercise the right of lien. So, to exercise the right of lien, the banker needs to have the goods with himself. Next one, lien on title of goods means banker can exercise the right of lien on various documents which gives ownership over particular goods. So, if the banker has those documents, those title to goods, in that case he can exercise his right of lien. Example, railway receipts, dock warrants belonging to the customer. Suppose the customer had given it to the banker for a particular loan and the banker has those documents. In that case, banker can retain it with himself until the loan is repaid by the customer. Then funds deposited by the customer in bank. The customer has deposited money into the account. Banker can exercise his right of lien on that funds which he has deposited. Next, bills, checks, dividend warrants, etc. deposited for collection. Suppose the customer deposits certain bills or checks with the banker for collecting the amounts. In that case, banker can exercise his right of lien on those bills, checks or dividend warrants. He can retain them until the payment of loan is made by the customer. The banker can also exercise his right of lien on life insurance policies, fixed deposit receipts of the customer. Next, exceptions to the banker's right of lien means circumstances or situations wherein banker cannot exercise his right of lien. Here we need to remember that banker will not be able to exercise his right of lien when the goods or money are given to the banker for a particular purpose. So there is a particular reason why the goods or money has been given to the banker. In that case, banker will not be able to exercise his right of lien on those goods or money. Examples are safe custody deposit. Safe custody deposit, the customer is giving his goods or valuables to the banker for the purpose of safe custody. Means he is entrusting the goods to the banker so that the banker can keep the goods safely. So there is a contract between banker and customer that the goods will be kept safely. In this case, banker cannot exercise his right of lien on safe custody deposits. Next one is trust funds. Again, trust account is opened for a particular purpose. The funds in the account to be used only for a particular purpose. In that case also, banker cannot exercise his right of lien. Next, securities left with the banker by mistake. Means suppose customer comes to the banker for undertaking certain transactions, and while going, by mistake he leaves his fixed deposit receipt over the counter. The banker cannot take the fixed deposit receipt and exercise his right of lien because that fixed deposit receipt was not given by the customer out of his own will. He left it with the banker unknowingly. By mistake he has left the fixed deposit receipt. In that case, on those items or securities which is left by mistake by customer in the bank, banker cannot exercise his right of lien. Next one, money, bills, promissory notes, etc. deposited for specific purpose. As I said earlier, if the money or securities have been given for a particular purpose, right of lien cannot be exercised. So when a customer, suppose he deposits a bill for collection, and when depositing he says that collected money should be used for making payment of insurance premium. So there is a particular reason what he has given, that is collected money should be used for payment of insurance premium. In this case, since there is a particular reason or particular work given to the banker, banker cannot exercise his right of lien on those money or instruments deposited for specific or particular purpose. Next is contingent debt. Contingent debt means future debt. So banker cannot keep the assets of the customer and say that I will exercise the right of lien on these assets for a loan which you might take in future. Loan is not taken by the customer. The banker cannot say that I will exercise the right of lien when you will take a loan in future. So that is not possible. For a future debt, right of lien cannot be exercised today. And last one, accounts in different capacity. Suppose the same customer has accounts in the bank but in different capacity. Example, a partnership account, a savings account of the partnership firm is there in a bank, and also an individual partner of that partnership firm has a loan account in the bank. In that case, banker cannot use the saving balance of partnership firm's account for creating a lien against the loan account of an individual partner. So both the capacities are different. In one case, he is acting as a partner, he is having a partnership firm's account in the bank, and individually he has a loan. So both are different capacities. In that case, banker cannot exercise the right of lien. Next one, pledge. Pledge means delivery of goods from one person to another with an intention of creating a charge as security for debt. So in case of pledge, the goods will be delivered by one person to another for creating a charge against the loan. So goods are delivered by the borrower to the banker as a security for the loan. The person who is delivering the goods as security is called the bailer or the pledger, and the person receiving the goods is called the bailee or the pledgee. So in case of banking terms, the borrower who is there, he is called as the pledger, and the bailee over here will be the bailee or the pledgee will be the banker. Essentials of pledge. First one, delivery of goods. In case of pledge, to exercise pledge, there should be delivery of goods, means possession should be transferred from the borrower to the lender, that is the banker. So delivery of the goods can be actual, that is actually the goods can be given to the banker, physical possession can be transferred, or it can be constructive or symbolic. Constructive delivery of goods means anything having the legal effect of putting the goods in the hands of pledgee. There might be certain situations wherein goods actually or physically cannot be given to the banker. In that case, something else will be done which gives the legal effect of transferring the possession. Example, delivery of key of godown, which constitutes delivery of goods stored in the godown. So instead of giving the goods from the godown to the banker, the keys of the godown are given to the banker, which is equal to giving the possession of goods to the banker. So this is called as constructive delivery. Next one, specific purpose. The goods must be delivered to the pledgee, that is the banker, for a specific purpose, that is for a specific loan. So when the borrower is giving the goods to the pledgee, that is the banker, it should be given for a particular loan only. Next, return of goods. Once the loan is repaid by the borrower, the goods must be returned back to the pledger. And the last one, possession of goods. In case of pledge, only the possession of goods is transferred to the pledgee. It does not involve the transfer of ownership. Ownership will remain with the pledger. Rights of pledger, that is the borrower. First one, right to receive the goods till sold. So the pledger or the borrower who is there, he has the right to receive the goods which he has given to the pledgee before they are sold. In case the last date of for the date given for making the payment of loan is expired, even after that, if the customer or the borrower makes the payment of the loan, he has the right to get his assets back. But this payment should be made before the assets are sold by the banker. So any time before the assets are sold, if the borrower repays the loan to the banker, in that case he has the right to get his assets back from the pledgee. Next one, right to receive reasonable notice. Reasonable notice for sale. So pledgee, that is the banker, he cannot directly go for sale of the asset. In case of default by the borrower, banker cannot directly sell the goods. Before selling the goods, he will have to inform and give a notice to the pledger so that he can arrange for funds and try for making the payment of the loan. So proper notice should be given in advance to the pledger. Right to ask for damages. If the banker sells the goods without giving a notice to the borrower, in that case borrower has the right to ask for damages from the banker. He can get compensation from the banker. And the last one, right to receive profits that arises. In case the goods which are transferred, the possession of goods transferred to the banker, those goods are earning any income or profits which are earned on those goods should be returned by the banker to the borrower. Next, duties of pledger. First one, duty to repay the loan. The most important duty that the pledger has is to repay the loan which he has taken. Next one, pledger should bear expenses. If there are any expenses to be incurred on the pledged goods, for their maintenance or for looking after them, any expenses are to be paid. These expenses should be paid by the pledger, that is the borrower. Pledger should indemnify the pledgee. Means, suppose there was any fault in the goods, default in the goods was there, which was not informed by the pledger to the pledgee. Suppose there was defective title in the goods, means the goods were not belonging to the pledger, but still he had pledged the goods to the banker. In that case, if the banker suffers any loss due to this cheating which the borrower has done, in that case the borrower will have to indemnify the banker. Next, pledger should disclose the faults in the goods. If there are any damages to the goods, any fault is there, any defect is there in the goods which are pledged, in that case the pledger should inform it well in advance to the pledgee. Rights of the pledgee, that is the banker. He has the right to retain the goods. The banker can retain the goods with himself until the borrower makes the payment of loan amount along with interest and expenses. Suppose the banker has incurred any expenses towards the goods, he has the right to recover those expenses from the borrower. Only then he will be returning the goods back to the borrower. Right of particular lien means, if a asset is given towards a particular loan taken by the borrower, the banker will be able to exercise his right of particular lien only. Means, he will be able to retain the asset only till the payment of that particular loan. He cannot keep it with himself after that loan has been repaid. Next one, right to receive extraordinary expenses. As I told earlier also, if the banker incurs any expenses on the pledged goods, the banker has the right to recover those expenses from the borrower. Next one, right to retain goods for subsequent advances. Suppose a loan was taken and the borrower had given a particular asset for the and charged it as pledge to the banker, and that loan has been repaid. After repaying that loan, the customer borrows one more loan, that is a subsequent loan has been borrowed. In that case, the banker can retain the same asset and use it as a security for the next loan taken by the borrower. Next one, right in case of default by the pledger. In case the pledger fails to make repayment of the loan, in that case banker has the right to retain the goods till the loan is repaid, or he also has the right to sell the goods for recovering his loan amount. Duties of pledgee, that is duties of the banker. First, reasonable care of goods. Banker should take proper care of the goods which are pledged by borrower to the banker. He should take proper care of the goods. Next one, return the goods. Once the loan has been repaid by the customer, it is the duty of the banker or the pledgee to return the goods back to the borrower. Next one, return the profits. Any income, any profits which are earned on the pledged goods should be given back to the borrower. Not to mix pledged goods with other goods. When the pledgee is taking the goods belonging to the pledger, he has to take proper care of it, and he should make sure that he does not mix the pledged goods with any other goods. He should keep it separately and safely. Next method of creating charge is hypothecation. Hypothecation is a process of creating equitable charge on specific movable property as a security for the amount of debt, but the ownership or possession of movable property or goods are not transferred to the creditor. So here in hypothecation, it is a process of creating equitable charge on specific movable property. So in case of hypothecation, charge is created against movable property, but an equitable charge is created, means the documents of those title to goods are given by the borrower to the lender. There is no transfer of ownership, nor there is any transfer of possession of goods. The possession as well as ownership remains with the borrower, but only the documents of those title to goods are handed over to the lender. Here there is a definition given. Hypothecation is defined by H.L. Hurt as charge against property for an amount of debt where neither ownership nor possession is passed to the creditor. So in case of hypothecation, charge is created against movable asset. When the charge is created, documents of title to goods are transferred to the lender, are given to the lender, but the possession of the goods and the ownership of the goods remains with the borrower. Parties involved in hypothecation. There are two parties involved. Hypothecator, that is the person who gives the movable property as security against the loan, that is the borrower, and hypothecatee is the person who receives the movable property as a security for loan, that is the banker. Next, precautions to be taken by banker in case of hypothecation. When the banker is granting a loan by creating a charge of hypothecation, he should take certain points in mind. He should be very careful. The first one, he should consider the 3 C's of borrower, that is character, capacity and capital. He should ensure that the borrower is a honest person who will be making the payment of the loan, repayment of the loan, and also make sure that he has sound financial standing. He is in a position to repay the loan taken from the bank. Next one, obtain periodical report from the borrower. Since the goods are in the possession of the borrower himself, the banker should ask for regular statements, regular reports regarding the goods from the borrower. So he can ask for a monthly report, a quarterly report. Time to time he should ask for reports regarding the goods which are with the borrower. Next one, undertaking. Banker should obtain an undertaking from the borrower, that is hypothecator, that the same goods will not be hypothecated to any other banker. Since the goods are with the borrower himself, there is possibility that he can use the same goods and take another loan. For that purpose, for the safety of the banker, he should ask for an undertaking from the borrower. He should tell the borrower to give a written undertaking wherein he promises that he will not use the same goods or hypothecate it to any other banker. Next one, nameplate. When goods are hypothecated by the banker should use a nameplate and place it on the property which is hypothecated so that it is clearly visible to the people and it is clear that the goods have been hypothecated towards a particular banker. The name of the bank should be mentioned in the nameplate. Next one, goods should be insured. Before accepting goods for creating a charge of hypothecation, banker should ensure that those goods are properly and fully insured by the borrower, and he should accept the hypothecation of goods only if the goods are fully insured. so that even if any accidents occur, any damages occur, he will be able to recover the money from insurance company. Next one is registration. In case the borrower who is taking a loan is a joint stock company, in that case, when creating a charge of hypothecation, it should be registered with the registrar of joint stock companies within 30 days of creating the charge. So if the borrower is a joint stock company, it is important that banker gets the hypothecation or the charge registered with the registrar of joint stock companies. Next one, inspection. As I had said earlier, banker should obtain periodical reports from the customer. He should not only depend upon the reports given by the customer. To ensure that reports are correct, that is proper information has been provided, banker should conduct inspection at the place where the goods are stored, so that he can make sure that the borrower is giving correct reports to the banker. And the last one, letter of hypothecation. Banker should obtain a letter of hypothecation from the borrower giving the details of the goods and the undertaking that he will not hypothecate the goods again to any other banker. The last method of creating charge, mortgage. It is a method of creating charge against immovable properties like land, building, etc. The terms which are used in mortgage are mortgagor, that is the borrower who is transferring the interest in the property to another person. Mortgagee is the person who is receiving the interest in the property. So mortgagor is the borrower, mortgagee is the banker. Mortgage deed, it is a document which specifies the details of mortgage, means it will give details of the property which is mortgaged, the terms and conditions of mortgage. So that document which contains all these details is called as mortgage deed. And mortgage money is the loan amount which is granted against the security of immovable property. So the loan amount along with interest, it is called as mortgage money. So in case of mortgage, a charge is created against an immovable property such as a land, building, etc. Essentials of mortgage. Immovable property. A mortgage is created only against an immovable property such as land, building, trees in the forest, then a machinery which is fixed to the earth. They are the immovable properties against which a charge of mortgage can be created. Next one, transfer of interest in the property. Transfer of interest over here does not mean transfer of ownership. Transfer of interest only means that some of the rights in the property will be transferred to the mortgagee, will be transferred to the banker. Only some of the rights have been transferred. It is not transferring ownership, nor the ownership or possession is transferred to the banker. Only some of the rights in the property will be given to the banker. Next one, specific property. Specific property means when the mortgage, the charge of mortgage is created, in the mortgage deed, exact details regarding the mortgage property has to be provided. The details regarding the land, so building or any machinery which is mortgaged, the exact details should be mentioned in the mortgage deed. Then possession with the mortgagor. As I said, in case of mortgage, the immovable properties, on immovable properties charge is created. So the possession of the property remains with the mortgagor, that is the borrower. Possession will not be given to the banker or the mortgagee. Next one, purpose of mortgage. The transfer of interest which is taking place. If this transfer of interest is done for securing a loan, then it is called as a mortgage. if the transfer of interest from one person to another person is done for any other purpose, it is not called as a mortgage. It will be called as a mortgage only if transfer of interest in the property is done for securing a loan transaction. Next one, reconveyance of interest or right. Reconveyance means giving back the interest in the property or giving back the right in the property. So once the loan is repaid by the borrower, it is the responsibility of the banker or the mortgagee to give the rights in the property back to the mortgager. Right to sale. If the mortgager or the borrower does not make the payment of the loan, the mortgagee has the right to sell the asset and recover the loan amount. Last one, mortgage deed. The document which contains all the details regarding the property, the terms and conditions of mortgage, it is called as mortgage deed. There are different types of mortgages. We'll look at it one by one. First one, simple mortgage. A simple mortgage does not involve giving the possession of the mortgage property to the mortgagee. So possession remains with the mortgager. Here the mortgager gives a personal undertaking for repaying the loan. So personal undertaking will be given by the borrower stating that he will be repaying the loan as per the terms and conditions to the banker. And in case of default, suppose the borrower does not make the payment, in that case the mortgagee can sell the mortgage property in accordance with law. Means in case of default, in case the borrower does not repay the loan, the banker will be able to sell the property by intervention of court. Means he will have to apply to the court. From the court, notice will be given to the mortgager. Only then sale can be made. Next one, mortgage by conditional sale. Here the mortgager conditionally sells the property to the mortgagee. So there is a sale taking place between mortgager and mortgagee. The possession of the property remains with the borrower, that is the mortgager. So I said it is a conditional sale. The conditions for sale are, first one, the sale will become absolute in case of default in payment. Means the sale has already taken place, but it will be effective, it will become absolute only if the borrower defaults in making payment. If the borrower defaults in making payment, the sale will be effective and the ownership will be transferred to the ownership and possession will be transferred to the banker. Second condition, if the loan is repaid, the sale which was done will become void. Means it will be cancelled. If the loan is repaid by the borrower, the sale transaction which was taken, it will be cancelled automatically. And third point, transfer of property to the mortgager on repayment of the loan. So here once the loan has been repaid, the transfer of ownership to be made to the mortgager. Next one, usufructuary mortgage. In this type of mortgage, the possession of the property is given to the mortgagee. Means the possession is given to the banker and it remains with him until the repayment of the loan. So here when the possession is given to the banker will be receiving all the incomes from the asset. Suppose a building was mortgaged and the possession is given to the banker. Suppose the building was given on rent. So the rent amounts which are to be received will be received by the banker. And the amount which is received will be adjusted towards the loan amount. Next one, English mortgage. In English mortgage, the physical possession of the asset and the ownership right is transferred to the mortgagee. So here possession as well as ownership is transferred to the mortgagee. On the repayment of the loan, the ownership as well as possession will be given back to the mortgager. If the loan is not repaid, in that case the mortgagee can sell the asset and recover his loan amount. Next one, equitable mortgage. In equitable mortgage, it is a mortgage which is created by depositing documents of title to goods with the banker. So here the documents of the property will be given to the banker. So the banker over here has a security. That is because he has the original documents of the property, without which the borrower cannot sell the asset. So since he has the original documents with himself, it gives him additional security that without his knowledge the goods cannot be sold by the borrower. In case the loan is repaid, the documents will be given back to the borrower, and in case of default, the banker can sell the asset for recovering his loan amount. Last one, legal mortgage. A legal mortgage is one which is registered in favor of banker with the registrar of property. So under legal mortgage, when this loan is given and mortgage is created, the charge of mortgage will be registered with the registrar of property. So once the property is registered, it is not possible to sell or transfer the property without cancelling the mortgage deed. So banker is safe over here because the borrower will not be able to sell the asset, nor he will be able to transfer it to any other person until the mortgage deed is cancelled. So the borrower, when he repays the loan, the charge will be cancelled, registration will be cancelled, and the rights in the property will be fully transferred to the borrower. In case he does not repay the loan, the banker has the right for selling the asset and recovering the money. Rights of mortgagee, that is the banker, he has the right to sale. In case the borrower does not make the payment of the loan, the banker has the right to sell the asset either with the intervention of court or without the intervention of court, depending upon the type of mortgage undertaken. Next one, right to sue for mortgaged money means if the borrower does not repay the loan, banker has the right to file a case in the court ordering the borrower to make the payment of mortgage money, that is the loan amount along with interest and any expenses incurred by the banker. Next one, right to foreclosure. Right to foreclosure means if the borrower does not repay the loan, in that case banker can file a case in the court for prohibiting the borrower from taking back his asset. Until the loan is repaid, he can stop the borrower from taking his asset back or taking the right in the asset. And next one, right to recover the amount. Banker or the mortgagee has the right to recover any amount or any expenses which has been incurred by him towards the mortgaged property. So he will be able to recover entire amount from the borrower. Rights of mortgager, that is the borrower, he has the right to redemption. Means once he makes the repayment of the loan, he has the right to get the right in his property back. He need to get the entire property, the rights in the property, the possession in the property back to himself so he can use it as per his needs. Next one, right to make copies of mortgage deed. The mortgager has the right to look at the mortgage deed which is prepared, and he also has the right to make copies of it and keep it with himself for his reference. Thank you.